What is going on, guys? Jeff here, Mad Hatter's Reef, and if you're new to the channel, this is where I talk about everything reef tank related. So if you love yourself some reef tanks, hit that subscribe button so you can be in the know every time that we upload a new video. Now today we're going to be taking a look at the 5 things that you should always do when you are adding saltwater fish to your reef tank. So let's jump into it.
And starting things off with number 5 on the 5 things you should always do when adding saltwater fish is making sure your tank is ready for fish. Now, that might seem like a no-brainer to a lot of you folks out there, but you got to keep in mind that not everybody is at the same point in the hobby as you might be. There's people on all different levels, people just getting started, people that may have just went to the aquarium, fell absolutely head over heels in love with saltwater tanks, and then they go and buy, and they might not get the best advice, and they come in to my store. It has happened where they're looking to basically get some fish, and the tank has only been up for a couple of days. And that's definitely my job, to make sure that we pump the brakes and make sure that their tank is ready and going to be able to sustain life prior to actually adding fish to the tank. But that's not necessarily what is going to happen in every case for everyone, which is incredibly unfortunate, and it does happen. Now, if you're just getting started and you're looking to add saltwater fish to your tank, you got to make sure that your tank is cycled and make sure that it can actually sustain life. And part of that is the nitrogen cycle. We have done quite a few videos here on the channel that kind of dive into the subject of cycling tanks. So if you want to check those out, jump over the channel, search cycling a tank, a bunch of videos will pop up. And also we'll have something pop up right here if you want to jump into that playlist of cycling tanks. So you got to make sure that your ammonia is at 0, your NO2 is at 0, and that your NO3 is low. And anything for the NO3 under 25 parts per million is generally good for saltwater fish. And at that point, and only at that point, your tank is ready for adding saltwater fish. And coming in at the number 4 spot on our top 5 things to always do when you're adding saltwater fish is having a stalking plan.
So the subject of having a plan when it comes to your aquarium, especially stocking your aquarium with saltwater fish, is incredibly important. It is going to have a dramatic effect on the overall success of your tank. Making sure that the fish that you want to keep in your tank, one, ensuring that they're going to actually do okay in that size aquarium, and 2, work together, is going to dramatically have a huge impact on whether you are successful or not. So we've talked about it on this channel a whole bunch on the podcast. So if you want to dive a little bit deeper, check it out on the podcast, check it out in the YouTube channel, jump over the channel, search Fish Stalking Plan. That was a pretty in-depth video that I did years ago that is just as good as today as it was when I made it then. So having a plan, sticking to it, not buying fish on a whim is going to dramatically increase your overall success. Have a plan.
Coming in at number 3 on our top 5 things you should always do when adding saltwater fish to your reef tank is quarantining them first. Now, the items needed for quarantining isn't very elaborate. Basically what you see here with the addition of airline and an air pump, and you're basically ready to go. The couple of things that I would add to this is your CChem prime as well as CChem ammonia badge. The ammonia badge is going to tell you when the ammonia levels start to rise in the tank. You add some more prime to it, that should knock it back down, and you'll be good to go. Now, in the event that you actually have a sickness that develops in the observation period of the fish, which typically is about 30 days for most quarantines, the chemicals that I would use in the event that actually something is going wrong with the fish would be ICX and Prazipro. That's going to cover 90% of the things that can actually happen out there. Your ICX has formalin in it, which is going to knock down a lot of bacteria issues. It's also got some stuff in there that's going to take care of parasites. Your Prazipro is going to take care of your flukes and other parasites. And in the event that you find that neither of those products are working, at that point I probably would lean on Copper Power. Copper Power is definitely one of the best products out there. What I like about it is that it doesn't break its bond when it is introduced to aquarium water conditioners, which is not necessarily the case with a lot of other products out there. So the 2 products that I mentioned, the ICX and the Prazipro, going to do 90% of the work. In the event that those products don't work, that's when I'm going to lean on Copper Power, and Copper Power is definitely going to get it done. Coming in at number 2 in our top 5 is Acclimation.
Next up, we got Acclimation. Now, acclimation can mean a lot of different things. It can mean the way in which that you're introducing your new fish to your water that you have in your aquarium. It also could mean slowly introducing your fish to the other tank mates that are already present in the system. Now, drip acclimation, we've talked about that a lot here on the channel, and definitely something that I am pro. The way in which I do drip acclimation has actually changed quite a bit, especially recently, and that's probably something that deserves its own video. So if you want to stay up to date, make sure that you catch that video, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, so you'll be in the know when that video drops. So you got acclimation boxes, you got drip acclimation, definitely two key components to having a successful introduction of a new saltwater fish.
And coming in at the number 1 spot on our top 5 things you should always do when adding saltwater fish is selecting healthy saltwater fish. Now, that might seem like a no-brainer to a lot of folks out there, but it's hard to do when you're shopping online. Just going to say that. So going to the local fish store and actually being able to pick out your fish is going to give you a leg up on the competition. I own a fish store and I drive 3 hours to a wholesaler just so I can hand net my own fish, because it's going to give me the best option, the most healthy fish, and that is going to dramatically increase your overall success. Now, a couple things that I look for when I'm trying to pick out healthy fish is that the fins look the way that they should. They're not ratty, they're not tore up, that the fish has a full belly, not sunken in. And probably one of the most telling things that you can look for in a fish, for me personally, is if it looks like it's ready to eat. If it's coming up to the glass, it doesn't care that you're there. It's not acting overly shy. These are all signs of fish that are settled in, that are healthy, and most importantly, are fish that are ready to be brought home and put into quarantine. Because if you have a fish that is at the store that's stressed out, that doesn't look healthy, it's probably not going to do well in quarantine, because quarantine can be pretty stressful on a new addition.
Now, it's incredibly important to make sure that you're doing your research for your fish before you're adding them to your tank. And if you want to learn more about saltwater fish, check this video out. I will see you over there.